I don't know if you believe that. Because if all of a sudden, again, white people started moving to India and changing what Indian culture is. Like, you've already complained about Indian culture becoming too westernized.
Yeah, but that's, again,
and
because
Japanese people started coming and then making it a little more Japanese. Like,
I'm going to cut you off because India got imperialized, got conquered. India was supposed to have an entirely different trajectory. It got robbed, pillaged. Now I have a sensitivity to it. England didn't get imperialized, robbed, pillaged by any of these foreigners for sure coming in. No Indian country.
That's not true, but
You're bringing in Indians when you have the British Empire for sure.
But
Andrew Schulz clashed with Akaash Singh on the Flagrant podcast. This is like two friends. Sometimes you have a disagreement and you hash it out. It got kind of heated, got a little awkward, but there's some substance here, and I think that they came to an understanding of sorts. Let's see how they got there.
I mean, like, of course, the Roman Empire conquered them. I mean,
not by the people that you don't like. He doesn't have a problem with Italians coming over.
No, he does.
He has a problem with Italians.
Yeah. So
you think those guys that are rioting?
He's saying each country, like if Italians came and made England Italian, he has an issue with it. He doesn't like the no border policy. He doesn't. So he's like, every country that fought for their identity should be able to uphold that identity.
The people he's defending, they don't have a problem with Italians. The people he's saying, I understand where they're coming from and sympathizing with.
But I'm not going to argue on them.
But that's who he's supporting, defending.
Sure. What I'm just saying, I hear what you're saying. But his argument about a nation being able to fight for its identity, and if it doesn't, by not accepting large amounts of immigrants, they're looked at as racist. I don't know if they should be looked at as racist.
Andrew Schulz is showing courage here in this debate with Akaash Singh on Flagrant Podcast. They don't usually do debates like this, or this is a serious discussion, not any jokes flying back and forth. Andrew Schulz, they're both stand-up comedians. Andrew Schulz and Akaash Singh used to throwing jabs back and forth and jokes. They sat down for a serious conversation. Andrew Schulz is taking the more courageous route, defending the white nationality of England. And Akaash Singh is saying, well, England was the colonial masters at one point that went through, pillaged, and drew out all the resources of India, so they don't get to complain now. Let's see, which one do you side with?
If the idea of fighting that war was to preserve the English identity, and accepting large groups of people from other countries is naturally going to chip away at that singular identity. I understand the logic behind it.
That could be one of the many emotions, but I do think there's some racism involved in the same way that, like, they're not going to be upset at the Italian restaurant opening up in their neighborhood.
You've made that argument. I'm not saying that. I'm making.
And this is just to what I'm saying earlier. That's a great premise. I can't find a ton of holes in it. A comedian has a great premise. You can't just find the holes in it.
Right.
It's fun. But we both know at the end of the day, this is not like a real thing this person believes, or you should know.
See, I don't like getting into those arguments where it's like we're going to assume what they really mean. Like, I'm just trying to have the argument based on, like, the words that are said, which is, does Hawaii have the ability to maintain their Hawaiian culture? And when Western culture starts to come in, or even Japanese culture, where these other cultures start to chip away at the Hawaiian identity, do they have the right to be frustrated with that, or are they racist when they're frustrated?
Yeah, but again, you're talking about a colonized place that was in, like, that's where the difference is.
Okay,
it just
remove
is different.
colonization. Like, do a thought experiment. Just do a thought experiment.
Yeah, as a thought experiment, if they had never been colonized.
The frustration that you hear in Andrew Schulz's voice is, how can I have a discussion if your defense is they were colonized? You'll hear him say later on, every country was a colony or colonized at one point. What Akaash is talking about is going back to when the British India Company came through, and spices, remember spices were like the gold of the world. They came through and started trading. After a while, it wasn't just trading. It was basically they had come through and they were just running the show in big parts of India. And then they ended up just running it all and then taking all the spices and everything, basically.
Don't worry about it.
Everybody's been colonized, so that cancels out everybody.
I mean, they're still colonized, like right now.
Okay. This is why these things are so difficult. It's really hard to just even hypothetically discuss it.
Like if Mexico got mad at a bunch of Americans moving in, I would honestly be like, it's just country changes. Like Mexico has been its own country for a long time. Country changes. It's not Indians moving into England where it's like, well, we have to come here because you actively took all of our jewels. They're still in your fucking palace. So I have more opportunity here. I'm coming.
You think those jewels are doing anything?
India was a
jewels
wealthy.
are going to help 2 billion. I hate this revisionist history where India was wealthy and then now all of a sudden they're broke.
Yeah, how is that now all of a sudden? Like, what are you even talking about?
I mean, look at Africa. Like they took all their resources, and Africa's still a poor country, continent.
I mean, like, I just know that you don't have anything to substantiate that. So
No, I do agree with that. And don't get conquered. Don't get colonized. That's the lesson that I learned from that. It's not good when your country gets conquered. That's not a good thing. And it will hurt you. So that's part of nature. You don't let one tribe or one pride conquer you or the other, or you're done.
it's like there's no way to. We're living in like a world where like there's no way to prove the trajectory would have gone completely positive. There could have been infighting.
I don't know if it would have been positive. I don't know if it would have been completely positive,
Yeah.
but it would have been. I said it was just completely different trajectory. I didn't say it was worse.
Right.
Completely different trajectory
I
that
guess
they
what-
did not have control of.
In that situation with Mexico, like I would totally understand if Mexico was like, hey, I don't want you chipping away at our culture. Like,
I think that is happening a little bit. I think some Mexicans are mad at the like El Salvadorians like come up and like they take over like little enclaves or something. I was talking about a Mexican buddy. He's like, yeah, like there's like they have like immigrants that are moving through and they
Yeah.
get annoyed by it. I don't know if it's all of Mexico. I doubt it. But.
and again, we're different in especially like New York because this is part of our identity. We've had these different groups of people that we've fully embraced coming in here and becoming part of the fabric of what it is to be an American from the beginning. Even when we went west, there's Mexicans, there's Native Americans, there's always all these different people. Even when we're uniting the country, we were colonies of different countries, so there are different cultures for us to even handle. You go down to New Orleans and there's like French speakers, like there's just all this different stuff that we've had to deal with. So this is our idea of what a country is.
Some of these scoop the bagel ass people, like they
That's me. I'm a scoop the bagel.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's racist.
Get those people out of here.
But so I do think we're projecting our.
Take a second to comment. Let me know what you think about this debate. It really is coming down to that colonialism for Akaash, and he can't get off of that because if he didn't have that, then India would be the same as Mexico, but he's not treating them the same. Is that the right thing to do or not?
Idea of like acceptance on other countries that are just like, hey, listen, we've worked thousands of years to curate this identity and we don't want to water that identity down. And the people that do come in here, and if they end up watering it down, it's not going to be something we like, and don't call us racist for that. You tell me if I'm wrong.
He has a solid point. That's why Andrew Schulz stops there. What I would say is the Flagrant podcast doesn't really get into civics often, and you have to for this discussion. Akaash is terrible with basic civics. Diversity is not our strength. America is the perfect example. We are very diverse. My parents are Jamaican. I live around Mexicans, all kinds of people. The strength of the country is that all these different type of people have a close enough agreement on the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence, the founding of the country, the uniqueness of the country. All these different people from Africa, Poland, and Italy, and Jamaica, and Mexico, all these different people have a similar belief in the right to free speech, the right to keep and bear arms, the right for a fair trial. They believe in these things. That's having all those people believe in that central goal, that central belief of rights, that they're God-given. That is the strength of the country, not diversity. If you want diversity for diversity's sake, you're done.
Like, let's say a bunch of Chinese people started to move into Italy and they started to like change what it is to be an Italian. Are they wrong? Are they racist for that?
No, probably nationalist.
But is that wrong?
I mean, I guess it depends to what degree.
Oh, based on our perspective of a country, that's wrong. But we also don't have thousands of years of history and like identity built into that. Like, I don't know, I would feel wrong. Like, I know that India is a different example, but like, I'd feel like, let's say white people, just Europeans, started moving into China and slowly changing China and making China more white. Like, I would, and they were like, hey, we don't like how China's becoming so like westernized, like we're losing our cultural identity. I wouldn't be like, you fucking racist, how dare you? Like, I'd be like, yeah, I get that. Like, we're coming to your shit and then making your shit ours. We talk about this with gentrification all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
Like, when it comes to gentrification, we unanimously agree it's wrong. And then when it comes to the gentrification of a country,
we don't like it, but we don't stop it.
yeah, that's true. But it's oftentimes the people that there don't have the power to stop it.
Great discussion by Andrew Schulz, Akaash Singh, and you see how they kind of work through it, and they don't agree, but they were able to work through it without it escalating to yelling and shouting and childish stuff here. But great clip from the Flagrant podcast. If you want more, there's more right below. Right now on this video, you can click to get more after show Carnage, where you get more insight, more clips, more breakdowns. Let's go. Click on the next video and enjoy it.